So, I have Alex.
Now you can start. Sorry, guys.
Oh man, you really lost a moment there. You.
So I have Alexandra Niedzialkowski with us. Was that right? Okay?
Yeah.
From Cumulus, and she's going to be doing our Mill Street session today. Very excited to have her. She's a Seattle local now, but originally from Anacortes.
Oak Harbor, actually, which is like 20
Oh.
minutes from Anacortes.
No way.
Yeah, but
When did you come down here?
Anacortes. 2010, after finishing college at Western in Bellingham.
Yes. Nice. What was your degree?
Communication studies.
You seem extra brilliant. That's why I asked. As a fellow comm major from
Hey,
Western.
comm department, what's up?
Yeah, exactly. So, what's the last year look like for you? Like, I know that you've gotten a record deal over the last couple years or something.
Mm-hmm.
You've been touring a bunch. You've had some new music out. Like, tell me about what's been going on.
Yeah, well, a little over a year ago, we signed to a record label called Trans Records. It's owned by Kris from Death Cab for Cutie, and we put out a record, which was amazing. We put it out last October, so the record is officially a year old. And we traveled to like 35 to 40 states, I believe. Like, I did that map thing that's on Facebook recently, and I clicked on all of them, and I was like, oh, this is the coolest part about being in a band, is that I've been to like all these different states. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, there's a thing on Facebook, and it's everywhere, where you just click all the states that you've been to. And
Yeah.
I think we've both probably been to a lot of them, because...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, mostly the last year has just been spent writing and figuring out how I want the next record to sound, and where those songs are coming from, and just playing lots of shows whenever I can.
What's that process been like for you, trying to figure out which way to go with the record? I'm going through something very similar, and it's kind of hard.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's like my first record, it was kind of written in a way where I started playing songs when I was going to Western, like my sophomore year of college, and I didn't really know I wanted to make music. I was just kind of writing things for fun, playing lots of house shows in my friends' living rooms and things like that. And it wasn't until I moved to Seattle that I started thinking, oh, this is something I kind of really want to do. But all the songs on that first record, like Do You Remember, is a song that's like 7 years old now. And so that entire record really just documents my growth as a person from 18 to 24, trying to like figure out life and relationships. And now I'm 26, and I just think that my writing is a lot more intentional rather than kind of stumbling upon things on accident. You know, I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm going to write, you know, rather than just kind of like waiting for things to hit. And I just think I've experienced things a lot differently being post-25 than being pre-25. So I think in general the record is going to sound different just for all of those reasons.
Cool. Where'd you record?
The first record was recorded in Anacortes
Unknown.
at a studio called The Unknown. Yeah.
That place is killer.
Yeah, it's really
I think
cool.
Valley Maker just did something there, right?
They just recorded their record
Oh,
there.
they're so good. They're playing tonight, actually.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be dated a little bit. Yeah, but that's cool. What was your experience there?
It was really amazing. It was, so Anacortes is, like I was saying, about 20 minutes from Oak Harbor, so we all kind of grew up in that area, and it was just really homey. It was really easy to be in that town and make a record in that town because it just felt so familiar. It was amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. I really want to record there someday. Okay, another question for you. This is a weird question to ask, but what have you seen happening in the Northwest with music, like lately, if anything? Because I'm always curious. Everybody has a different vantage on the scene or what's happening or who they like, and we're all friends with bands and stuff like that. So I mean, we get different perspectives. But like, what have you been seeing? Like, that's happening?
I think, well, I don't really see one thing. I think what I'm seeing is that there's just a lot of creative people in Seattle. But I'm feeling that everywhere I go.
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling just like once you let yourself admit that you're a creative person who's going to pursue creative endeavors, you end up meeting other people and seeing that in them as well, or even bringing that out in them. And I just kind of feel like particularly in Seattle. Every time I go to a coffee shop, I see somebody I know who's like making music or painting or like a photographer.
Yeah.
If I ever need some help artistically, image-wise or vision-wise, there's so many people to like get help from and who I respect and would love to work with. I think I'm just kind of, when I first moved to Seattle, and I think I felt really scared and isolated and nervous about doing music in the city, but
Yeah,
then
totally.
Once you dive in, there's just so many amazing people.
And it's kind of a small world too once you really get involved.
Or
with
there's
the
like
scene.
20 small worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and so
But
that's,
they're all connected too, but
Mhm.
just not the way you think.
Yeah.
That's great. What about songwriting? Like, what are some songwriters that you're not friends with that you admire in the Northwest? So like Boise, Portland, Seattle, Bellingham. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. Well, I've kind of, not to be like name droppy or anything, but I definitely
No, I
at
asked
least
you,
know
don't
or
worry.
am friends with most of the people that I really respect and
Yeah.
admire their songwriting. Or at least I've met them once and was starstruck and they remember my name and I remembered theirs. Like Damien, we've never
Yeah.
hung out really, but I see him, Damien Dorado.
Yeah.
I've looked up to him since I was like 16 or 17. He actually played in Anacortes when I was in high school.
oh, cool.
And he's always been a really important songwriter for me. Mira is somebody that I've never really officially met, who I've always looked up to her career.
She just came
I think
through.
it was my friend. I was listening to a lot of emo and screamo music in high school, and I didn't really know that like there were women making really beautiful pop songs that weren't top 40 pop. So my friend burned
That's
me The Blow, like one of the very first Blow CDs, and then Mira, Advisory Committee, and those were two records that really kind of shifted my perspective on pop music and women in music, and those songwriters
Cool.
have meant a lot to me.
What do you think about just women in music in Seattle and
They're
where it is
badass.
right now? Like, do you think it still has a ways to go, or do you think it's in a good spot? Like, you know,
Yeah.
as somebody who maybe doesn't always see it from that vantage or think about
Yeah.
it, male, female, I'm just wondering your perspective.
I think that there's always, it's always exciting to see more and more. There's always going to be room for more and more women to be playing music.
Yeah.
I volunteer at Rain City
I
Rock
was
Camp
just
for
gonna
Girls, and
ask
I
about
just went to their gala and played the gala where they raise money every year for the year-long programs. They're doing year-long programming now in addition to their summer camp
Wow,
programs.
that's awesome.
And they raised $45,000 that night at the gala. And they were saying something, I mean, I'm totally probably getting the statistic wrong, but they were saying something like, you know, about 800 girls participated in the camp, like just in the last 2 years, and that about 200 bands have been created as a result of Rain City Rock Camp for Girls, like
Whoa.
teenage bands, you know? And I think about
the smooshes of our time.
I think
like,
about 2,000 girls have participated, like in the last 4 or 5 years of the camp's existence, because year-long programming, summer camp programming, and the volunteers. There's hundreds of volunteers that make it happen, and that's been a really inspiring environment to be a part of.
seeing some of those girls growing and becoming better musicians, like, what advice do you have for songwriters or people that are coming up right now?
Yeah. Well, I would just say just keep on writing, and whatever you think is a song, it is a song because it's your song. I think that was something that was really hard for me at first, was to kind of just be like, oh, this isn't good enough. Oh, this isn't a good song, because I was thinking about what other people thought a good song meant. And when I was first starting to write songs, I was imitating my favorite songwriters. I think that's one of the first stages of like finding the voice that you like to sing in. Is
Seems
that
like an important
you start,
part too.
yeah, it's really important. You start imitating other singers you
Yeah.
like. You start imitating other artists you like, and you kind of have to go through that to figure out how to find your own voice. I think that it's weird enough. When I write I've had several moments where I've written something really cool because I was trying to cover a song and I totally
Yeah.
messed it up. And then I wrote something of my own on accident, and then I was like, well, that's even cooler. Like, there's something about taking structures and then, messing them up a little bit that'll lead you onto your path. So if somebody thinks, hey, that's not a good song because it doesn't fit into this category of what they consider to be a good song, who cares?
Yeah.
It's your song. And I think that's especially important for, I mean, I think anybody, but I think it does deeply affect girls, like growing up and trying to find their own voice. Are the pressures of what we're supposed to sound like and say and do. So,
That's an important note, I
is
think.
there, can we swear on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta say fuck it sometimes.
Yeah.
Just
Fuck it. Yeah.
I still have to tell myself that all the time too. That's a
You tell yourself
it's
that
a
all the time.
lifelong process of saying fuck it and just going with it.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Alex from Cumulus. Fuck it. Actually, I'm not sure if we're supposed to say that, but let's just go with it. Okay, so one last thing. What's coming up for you? I know you're playing with Shelby in December.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just talk about what's next.
Yeah, I'm playing with Shelby Earle on December 4th at the Sunset, and I'm really excited to play that show. And that's kind of the only thing in the works right now.
Are you writing?
I am writing, yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of being a hermit. So that's what to expect, is that you should come out to the Sunset on this date if this video comes out before then. You should definitely come to that show.
Where is it at?
Because you might not see me for a while. At the Sunset in
Sunset.
Ballard.
What day is it?
December 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
December 4th, Sunset. Alex from Cumulus. You've heard it here, folks. Fuck it.
And I care about things, deeply care about things.
I was gonna blog about this interview, but now that you said the F-bomb, I don't know. Awesome. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I think that's good.